boat. Can we move over? Let's get out of the sun.
Coming back.
Isn't that more comfortable?
Mr. President, Iran's foreign ministry says you're not telling the truth when it comes to productive conversations to end the
Well,
war.
they're going to have to get themselves better public relations people. We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them. They went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict, and I think it'll end it very, very substantially. We have very much in mind our partners in the Middle East. We've had great relationships with a lot of them, as you know. A lot of them were surprisingly hit. And I was surprised to see it, and so was everyone else. But we have, they're very much in mind in the discussions. So the discussions took place yesterday. They went into yesterday evening. They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. We're going to get together today by probably phone because it's very hard to find a country. It's very hard for them to get out, I guess. But we'll at some point very, very soon meet. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we just keep bombing our little hearts out.
Who are you speaking with in Iran?
A top person. Don't forget, we've wiped out the leadership phase 1, phase 2, and largely phase 3. But we're dealing with a man who I believe is the most respected and the leader. It's a little tough. They've wiped out everybody.
Is that the Supreme Leader?
No, not the Supreme Leader. We don't. Well, nobody heard of the second Supreme Leader, the son.
Are these direct
Nobody. We have not heard from the son. Every once in a while, you see a statement made, but we haven't. We don't know if he's living. But the people that seem to be running it, and they seem that based on really fact, because things they've said have taken place.
Can you
Mr.
say what that
President,
is?
I can't.
Mr. President, I know you deployed.
Because I don't want him to be killed. Okay, I don't want him to be killed.
Mr. President, you
Nobody wants to be that. Nobody wants that job right now. You know, nobody's exactly looking forward to being the head of that particular country. But perhaps we'll be able to solve that problem.
Mr. President, you've deployed ICE agents to American
Who are you
airports.
with?
Newsman, sir. You've deployed
You're
ICE.
not doing a very good job.
You deployed ICE agents.
You're not doing a good job. Did you hear me? Okay, go
What
ahead.
exactly do you want from
You
these
believe it? I'm
talks?
taking CNN over Newsmax.
What exactly are you looking for in these talks, Mr. President?
We're looking for all of the things that we've been talking about. We want to see no nuclear bomb, no nuclear weapon, not even close to it. Low key on the missiles. We want to see peace in the Middle East. We want the nuclear dust. We're going to want that, and I think we're going to get that. We've agreed to that. Yeah, we've agreed to that.
You want the enriched uranium before
Yeah.
you can end this
And we
war.
want no enrichment, but we also want the enriched uranium. If this happens, it's a great start for Iran to build itself back, and it's everything that we want. And it's also great for Israel, and it's great for the other Middle Eastern countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, all of them, Kuwait and Bahrain in particular. So it's great for all of them.
If the war is ending, do you still need $200 billion?
It's always nice to have. It's always nice to have. It's a very inflamed world, and the Democrats inflame it. You know, largely the Democrats inflame it. Let me just talk about the others. So ICE has done very well. I've requested. Now, you know, I'm a big believer that they should be able to wear masks when they go and hunt down, murderers, criminals, and others. But for purposes of the airport, I've requested that they take off the mask. I don't like it for the airport, and I believe they are willing to do that.
Why do they wear masks not at the airport, but they need to do it when they're out in the
Because the people coming into the airport typically speaking, aren't murderers, killers, drug dealers, etc. There may be a few of them, but there aren't many. They're people that want to come into the country, or that people want to leave the country, go into maybe their home country. So I didn't think it was an appropriate look for an airport. I think it's a very appropriate look when they're out on the street trying to find one of the 11,888 murderers that Sleepy Joe Biden led into our country.
Last year you gave a $10,000 bonus. Sorry. Last year you gave a $10,000 bonus to TSA workers who kept showing up to work during the shutdown. Will you do that again?
Well, it could happen. It's amazing. There's people that are really, really loyal and great, and it's not easy for them. And this is all caused by the Democrats. Just so you know, all this money was approved. Everything was approved. This is done. The Democrats went in, and they want to have radical left lunatics come into our country. They want to have drug dealers. They want to have murderers come into our country. They want to have open borders, and we're not letting it happen. That's what this is all about. They don't want voter ID. They don't want proof of citizenship. They don't want mail-in ballots. They're so corrupt. What they want, the only thing they want is mail-in ballots. So we also added, as you know, into the Save America Act, and it's called Save America. It's not the Save Act, but we added no transgender mutilization of our children, and no men in women's sports. I don't think he's going to be a newsman.
If he talks so well and he reaches ceasefire just with Iran, do you believe Israel would abide by that agreement?
I think Israel will be very happy with what we have. We just spoke to Israel a little while ago. I think they'll be very happy. This will be peace for Israel, long-term peace, guaranteed peace. If this happens, and, I can't guarantee it, but I think it's going to. My life is a deal. That's all I do is deals, my whole life. I think this is something that's going to happen. And why wouldn't it happen? So tomorrow morning sometime, their time, we were expected to blow up their largest electric generating plants that cost over $10 billion to build. It's a very good one. There was no dearth of money. And one shot, it's gone. It collapses. Why would they want that? So they called. I didn't call. They called. They want to make a deal. And we are very willing to make a deal. It's got to be a good deal. And it's got to be no more wars, no more nuclear weapons. They're not going to have nuclear weapons anymore. They're agreeing to that. Any of that stuff, there's no deal.
You said you want to get the enriched uranium. How are you going to get the enriched
Well,
uranium?
it's very easy. If we have a deal with them, we're going down and we'll take it ourselves.
Can I ask you, the Treasury lifted sanctions on Iranian oil that was out to sea. You criticized President Obama for giving Iran $1.7 billion.
Well, I just want to have as much oil in the system as possible.
But Iran is
And we don't even know if Iran gets that money. Frankly, I think it's very hard for them to get it. But you have ships that are out there that are loaded up with oil. Rather than keep it there, I would rather see it go to the system. Any small amount of money that Iran gets is not going to have any difference in this war. But I want to have the system be lubricated.
even $14 billion.
Where's the $14 billion?
There's the inflated price. They get $14 billion from the.
I don't think they're getting the money. I could tell you, when this is all over, I will tell you who's getting the money.
Why are you sending the Marines from California, given that it'll take them weeks to arrive? Is the intention to police the strait or take cars?
What are you doing?
Well, it's been reported that there are Marines that left California, left San Diego last week. Why are they headed there now?
Well, let me ask you this. If you were in my position, and I asked you that question, do you really believe I could give you that? It's a crazy question. We don't talk about strategy. Yeah? Yeah, let in by Biden. It's devastating. These people were let in by Biden. We're getting them out. We're getting them out fast. That's why ICE is so important. They're doing such a good job. This animal, I saw the whole thing last night. They gave me a briefing. Came in through Joe Biden with his open door policy, and his borders are Kamala, who never saw the border. Never made one phone call. All the ICE people, you see, they all know me. Everyone knows me. They like me. I speak to them all the time. Didn't make one phone call during 4 years. She was the border czar to anybody on the border. Never went there. This person came in through the open door policy of Joe Biden, and we have others. We're taking them out by the tens of thousands. We're doing a great job, but it's a shame. They've hurt our country. Just remember this. Joe Biden and that gang of radical left lunatics, some very smart, but radical left and bad ideology, sick people. These people have hurt our country very badly.
Are we directly talking with
If you
Iran?
end up hitting those Iranian power plants, how is that different from what Russia is doing in Ukraine by hitting Ukrainian power plants?
Well, I think it's a lot different. And if you look at the nuclear weapons that they wanted to have, that they wanted to possess, a lot of things are different. I'm not a fan of what Russia's doing either, just so you understand. All right, but it's a lot different. You're talking about a country that has been evil for 47 years. They've been horrible. Death all over the world, not just us. Look at the way they attacked unexpectedly all of those countries surrounding them. It was not supposed to. Nobody was even thinking about it, but they wanted to take over the Middle East and they wanted to knock out Israel permanently. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would have been able to.
Are we directly talking with Iran?
Look, I'm not a fan of the guy. If you look at, and you never cover this, if you look at his truths or whatever he went on, his ex-truth, if you look at his truths or his statements, he was all for everything. All of a sudden, he wasn't. He was a man that I met at Dover. He came and his wife was killed. He remarried fairly quickly. His wife was killed, and I felt badly for him. He ran for Congress, he lost. He ran for Congress again and he lost. I said, you know, he's a guy, nice guy, seemed like a very nice guy. I met him, he was pretty heartbroken, But I said, you know, it's a shame. He ran for Congress twice. Call him up, give him a job in the White House. Smart. He gave him a job in the White House, and this is what he does to me, you know? Being a nice guy doesn't pay off too much. Think of it. He loses twice in Congress. Ran not very good campaigns. Should have won. But he loses twice. How do I get him? I have my people call him, because I didn't deal with him for the most part. I saw him a couple of times, but I never dealt with him at all. I had no idea his ideology was left or right, whatever it is. I can say this. He said very strongly that Iran is not a threat. Iran's been a threat for 47 years, and there's not a country in the world that doesn't agree with me on that. So I take this guy, Joe Kent, who lost twice for Congress, pretty badly and tough, and it was devastated, and I know that he lost his wife. So instead of letting him live out his life, I brilliantly have my people call him and offer him a job in security, essentially, in the White House. Now, what does he do? He goes out and he says that Iran is not a threat to get publicity. Now, he probably signed up with CNN or maybe signed up with your division of Newsmax. I don't know, but probably signed up with CNN or somebody. But if you look at his tweets, X's or truth, whatever he uses, I don't know because I don't follow him. What he said, 100% he agrees with it. All of a sudden he leaves. I never knew he had a problem. Now I hear they're looking at him for leaking. That's possible. But just so you understand, just to put it to rest, he lost twice badly. He also lost his wife. He's remarried since. He lost his wife. I felt badly for him. So I told my people, reach out to him, give him a job at the White House. This is the thanks I get. Any other questions?
Overall crime and
Iran
record.
was not an imminent threat. That's what the intelligence said.
I think it was an imminent threat. I think that Iran, if we didn't bomb them with the B-2 bombers, now that set them back. But if we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks to a month. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it as soon as they got it.
Are we directly talking
Separated
with
their
Iran?
nuclear sites last summer with their strikes. Then how can you argue it's an imminent threat now?
Oh, we hit them so hard, we obliterated them. But that doesn't mean with the right equipment, you can't dig down and go get it. We don't want that. We won't have that. but we obliterated that site. They still haven't been able to get it. That was a complete success. But if it wasn't, they would have had, if we didn't hit them, if we didn't use the B-2 bombers, which are unbelievable. We just ordered 22 more of them, modern version, by the way, super modern version. If we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, they would have had, within 2 weeks of that attack, that's why we hit them, because we knew they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it on Israel and the entire Middle East.
Overall crime in Memphis is down 43% since you began this task force. Is this a template you think is
Well,
working?
what I'm doing today, really, this was supposed to be, this was a little bit before, set up a couple of weeks ago. This was before we had this situation with Iran take place last night. And by the way, they're just not communicating. When they say, I'm sure they don't mean that. When somebody says, "No, I didn't know you," we were talking last night, and I'm sure they have a lack of communication, which is appropriate considering we blew up, in addition to their Navy, Air Force, every division, their radar. We also blew up all of their anti-aircraft and communication. So they have no telecommunication. So there is a lack of, I would imagine, a lack of coordination.
If you're worried about the miscommunication.
Well, we think all we can do is think, look, we have numerous leader groups. They've all been killed. Very dangerous position. Khomeini was killed. Khomeini's son is unavailable. Nobody knows what happened to him. I can say they haven't seen him there either. Something is going on with him, but regardless, I don't consider him really the leader. But they do have some leaders left, because we blew up group number 1, group number 2, a lot of group number 3. But we think we have people that are very representative of the country and will do a good job in running.
Elon Musk has offered to pay TSA workers during this DHS shutdown. Is this something that you've been speaking to him about?
Yeah, I'd love it. I think it's great. Let him do that. And I want to thank ICE because they stepped in so strongly. They'll do great. And if that's not enough, I'll bring in the National Guard. We're not going to have the Democrats destroy our country. These people are the most destructive, sick people, the Democrats. They want, and they're fighting for this. They're fighting for men and women's sports. They're fighting for transgender for everybody. Everybody go out, get your kid a nice operation, and change the sex of your kid. They're fighting for, no, think of it. They don't want you to do voter ID. You walk into a booth. In California, if a person who's doing voting, an official, asks you for identification, they're subject to being arrested. What's wrong with this country? So we're fighting it hard. And I think they should, because the Democrats are being blamed for the shutdown, and it's their fault, and they're getting killed. That's why when I announced yesterday about ICE, the Democrats called. We want to settle. We want to settle. And I told the people, don't settle. Don't settle. Because we have something bigger. Only settle if you get the Save America Act, voter ID, and so important, proof of citizenship, etc. Thank you very much. We're dealing really...
Whose idea was it?
Mine. That was mine.
And can I ask you,
That was like the paperclip. You know the story of the paperclip? 182 years ago, a man discovered the paperclip. It was so simple. And everybody that looked at it say, why didn't I think of that? ICE was my idea. First person I called was Tom Homan. I said, what do you think? He said, I think it's great. Then I saw today there was some masks on. I didn't think the masks were appropriate. I put out a statement and I asked them, would it be possible to take off the mask? Because they should wear a mask when they're dealing with the murderers and the thugs left and let it to them.
So you said there's many points of agreement with Iran right now.
Many.
What, can you give us a
Many,
list?
like 15 points. 15
That
points.
Iran has said yes.
Well, they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. That's number 1. That's number 1, 2, and 3. They will never have a nuclear
They
weapon.
said yes to that?
They've agreed to that.
Will we see illegal migrant arrests at airports, sir?
Arrests.
Will we see ICE arresting illegal migrants at
Yeah,
airports?
that's why the Democrats are going crazy. Because they've allowed, by what they did, and hold up, we put ICE, who are a very high level, I mean, they really are a high level group of people. And they love it because they're able to now arrest illegals as they come into the country. That's very fertile territory. But that's not why they're there. They're really there to help.
Sir, are you clear have been agreed to no enrichment whatsoever, even for medical purposes, civilian purposes?
They have. Thank you.
And what about the Strait of Hormuz? Who's going to be in control of
That'll
that?
be opened very soon if this works.
How soon? And who's in control of it? Will
I mean,
Iran still be able to control the flow of oil?
Be jointly controlled.
By who?
Maybe me.
You want the United States to be in
Me
control?
and the Ayatollah, whoever the Ayatollah is, whoever the next Ayatollah. Look, and there'll also be a form of a very serious form of a regime change. Now, in all fairness, everybody's been killed from the regime. They're really starting off. There's automatically a regime change. But we're dealing with some people that I find to be very reasonable, very solid. The people within know who they are. They're very respected. And maybe one of them will be exactly what we're looking for. Look at Venezuela, how well that's working out. We are doing so well in Venezuela with oil and with the relationship between the president-elect and us. And maybe we find somebody like that.
Are you considering any more options to lower the price of oil while the cost
The price of oil will drop like a rock as soon as the deal is done. I guess it already is today. No, we have a very serious chance of making a deal. That doesn't guarantee anything. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not going to come out here in a week or 2 weeks and have you all say, oh, you said, I didn't say anything. All I'm saying is we are in the throes of a real possibility of making a deal. And I think if I were a betting man, I'd bet for it. But again, I'm not guaranteeing anything. They want to make a deal very badly. Thank you.
What changes would you like to see in DHS under Mark Wayne?
Well, he's going to be fantastic. He'll make his own change. He's already given me a list of people he wants to bring. He's a fantastic guy. I think he's just the right guy. You all know him. He's a very open, smart guy, very successful actually in business, which people don't know, and he's a friend of mine. I think Mark Wayne is going to be fantastic. Thank you.
Are the indirect costs?
Terrible. They made a mistake. It's a dangerous business. That's terrible. Thank you.